old monster with only one tooth left wanted to marry the beautiful Princess Lisa. The princess just laughed and pulled out a mirror, telling him to take a good look at himself. The monster got mad, smashed the mirror, and said if she loved mirrors so much, he'd let her see herself. Then he summoned a magic mirror, and Princess Lisa saw herself turned into a frog. The monster said if she wouldn't marry him, she'd have to live in the swamp for 3 years, and if she still didn't agree after that, she'd be stuck as a monster forever. Meanwhile, in an ancient kingdom, the king wanted a grandson, so he told his 3 sons to shoot arrows in 3 directions, and wherever the arrows landed would be where they'd propose. Following the king's command, the 3 sons each shot their arrows. The oldest son's arrow landed at a noble's house, and he married the noble's daughter. The second son's arrow landed at a merchant's house, and he married the merchant's daughter. But the youngest son, Jack, shot his arrow too hard, breaking it, and found it a day later with Princess Lisa, who was now a frog. Seeing the frog holding his arrow, Jack had no choice but to bring the frog princess home, just as his father had asked, and he cried as he did. The next day, the 3 brothers held a grand wedding in the palace with their wives, to test his daughters-in-law's household skills. The king asked each of them to weave a blanket overnight. The 3 brothers returned home, but Jack was distressed. He cried, saying a frog couldn't make a blanket. Seeing him so upset, the frog princess told him not to worry and to get a good night's sleep, promising it would be ready by morning. Meanwhile, the wives of the older sons handed off the task to their servants, who outsourced it through layers of workers. As Jack slept, the frog princess blew out the candle, turned back into her true self, and began spinning under the moonlight. With help from the birds, she worked all night and finally finished the blanket. The next morning, the frog princess woke Jack up, told him the blanket was in a box, and urged him to show it to the king. In the palace, the oldest son presented his blanket first. The king looked at it and said it was decent and could be used as a cover in the stables. The second son then showed his, and the king, seeing the fish pattern on it, said it was a bit better and could be used as a tablecloth. Then he looked at Jack, who had come empty-handed. The king asked where his blanket was, and Jack nervously opened the box, revealing a shimmering silver blanket that stunned the king, who had never seen such a beautiful piece. To express his joy, the king ordered a feast that night and told everyone to bring their wives. Hearing this, Jack got upset again and went home feeling down. The frog princess asked him what was wrong, and he said the king wanted him to bring her to the feast, but he didn't know how to bring a frog out in public. The frog princess told him not to worry and to go ahead to the feast. She said she'd come when he heard thunder. Reluctantly, Jack went to the feast alone. At the feast, Jack sat sadly by himself while his sisters-in-law teased him, asking why he didn't bring his frog from the swamp. Jack was nearly in tears when thunder suddenly echoed through the palace. Jack told everyone not to be afraid, saying it was just his wife arriving. Everyone burst into laughter, and Jack buried his face in embarrassment. But when everyone went to the window to watch, they saw the frog princess in her true form, walking into the palace.